This is FIBA Podcast. Thank you for joining us in our morning daily devotion.
Jesus said, "Blessed are the peacemakers, because they will be called sons of God." Matthew chapter 5 verse 9. Jesus expects his followers to be the peacemakers in a world of anger, hate, bitterness, enmity, and violence. A peacemaker can be defined as someone who actively works to make peace between people and God and between people and people. Peace never happens by chance. They always take the initiative. In Paul's epistle to Philemon, the initiative and efforts to bring peace between Philemon and Onesimus is an important observation, which is a great model for peacemakers. Today's devotional principle. Peacemakers are the builders of the body of Christ, having a godly community that serves in the darkened world. Let me say it again. Peacemakers are the builders of the body of Christ, having a godly community that serves in the darkened world. While Paul met Onesimus in Rome, he was under house arrest. In the Rome Empire, the house-arrested convicts would have handcuff chains hooked with a soldier. No privacy is generally permissible. Most of the house-arrested people remain in chains for an indefinite time period. Indeed, Paul was an aged person, as in verse 9 we read, Paul, an old man, he himself identifies in that way. He was also not in good health, which he expresses in 2 Timothy chapter 4 verse 6, "For I am already being poured out like a drink offering, and time for my departure is near." In such condition of various battles within, Paul was so mindful to make peace between the offender Onesimus and the victim Philemon. It was not merely an arbitration which settled the problem between the two outside the legal court. Paul intends for both of them individually to bring peace with God first. First, he established peace between Onesimus and God, and Philemon and God. Paul's writing in his epistle, he mentions in verse 10, "My son Onesimus, who became my son while I was in chain." Paul led Onesimus to Christ. After he made peace between God and Onesimus, Paul now intends to establish peace between the offender Onesimus and the victim Philemon. His convincing words of conviction and motivation drove Onesimus to return to Colossae. His words were so deeply convicting, convincing, and motivational, which led Onesimus to undertake a long journey of 1,300 miles despite possible dangers and perils on the way. He acknowledges before Philemon that Onesimus was formerly useless. He also agrees that Onesimus had done wrong and owes money to Philemon in verse 19. I believe Paul has gently pointed out to Onesimus about his unfaithfulness attitude, behavior, and action. After preparing the offender, Onesimus, to seek peace with God and peace with Philemon, now he prepares Philemon to make peace with God. He affirms many good virtues of Philemon. He acknowledges his longing for holy people, his faith, and his partnership in verse 5 with Paul, and in faith in verse 6. Since Paul states that he had not physically visited Colossae, as we read in Colossians 2:1, he should have met Philemon in Ephesus, where he spent a considerable amount of time, as we read in Acts 19:10. Though Paul appreciates Philemon for his appreciable spiritual stand, he also expresses his desire for him that his faith life be more deepened in verse 6. In verse 7 he says, "You have refreshed the hearts of the Lord's people." This appreciation exhorts Philemon that he also should refresh the hearts of others besides the saints. This is the way Paul gently reminds that Philemon should move closer to the Lord. He does not say that Philemon had done any wrongdoing. Rather, he should be doing better deeds. as he led Onesimus closer to the Lord in order to make peace between God and Onesimus. He also made similar efforts to establish peace between Philemon and God. Having said this, he says in verse 8 that he should be doing something which he ought to do. What is that? To receive, forgive, recognize, and revere the offender Onesimus. He pleads this on the basis of an unconditional love that saints should have and demonstrate. In verse 9, we read about it. Paul's peacemaking initiative began making the victim, Philemon, and offender Onesimus individually peace with God first. This made Philemon and Onesimus to be bonded with Christ-driven love, which ultimately gave Bishop Onesimus to the church in Ephesus.
Dear listener, we are here to stand with you in your time of need. We want to pray with you and for your prayer request. Do you need someone to talk to? We are here for you. Call us or send a message at +91 636 425 2164 +91 636 425 2164. God bless you.